Welcome back, everybody.
Hi.
No, because everybody's here.
Yeah.
There would be no code word. All right. So this is the warm-up. Everybody watching along at home in the other periods, because everybody's here second period. Pause this. Make sure you do the warm-up, and then we'll go over it in a second. But any questions on the homework? What do we want to go over? Give me at least 3 or 4 of these to go over. Nathan.
13.
Number 13. All right. Now, people are getting confused with this one because you see a square. Don't get confused. It's still the same process. I want to solve for h. So I find h. There it is. What's being done to h? Is h being squared? No. So the squared doesn't have any bearing on solving for my h. What's being done to h? Multiplied by pi r squared. It's multiplied by pi r squared. So to get it to go to the other side, I would divide by pi r squared. Left and right side. So therefore, v over pi r squared is going to be equal to my height. Questions about that one? Remember, how do you know when you're completely done? You know when, if the variable is completely alone. That's when you know you are finished with the problem. Okay, give me another one to go over. Gio. Number 11 up here. All right. So the first thing I want to do is solve for z, right? Find z. And then you identify what's being done to z. Well, I see 2 things. When there's 2 operations, that makes the problem a little bit more difficult. The first thing I have is addition with ya. Addition of ya. And then it's multiplied by, I think that's a u underneath there. So it's multiplied by u and added with ya. So to undo that, I've got to start with my addition and subtraction. I got to subtract ya over to the other side. So that gives me uz, that's a z. uz is equal to rs minus ya. I'm still solving for z, so I divide by u over to the other side, and everything gets divided by the u. So z is going to be equal to rs over u minus ya over u. And that's my answer. When there's 2 operations like that, it's a little bit more difficult. The 1 operation ones aren't so bad, but it's the 2 operations. Those are the ones that are a little bit more difficult. Give me another one. At least 1 more to go over. Somebody pick one. Yeah. Good.
10.
Number 10. And this is another 2-step operation one. That's another one where it's a little bit more difficult because I have 2 steps. All right, so we have to solve for x. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract by over to the other side. So that gives me ax is equal to c minus by. And then I divide by a. And everything gets divided by the a. So x is equal to c over a minus by over a. Remember to use addition and subtraction, then your division. Questions about that? All right, let's get to the warm-up then, shall we? Now, I will say this: the 2 topics, in my opinion, that are really giving some people some difficulty are literal equations, like what we have on the board right here, and absolute value equations. Those are the 2 things that people still are not grasping. So, we did 2 days on section 1.7. We're doing a warm-up over absolute value. And then you'll notice that tonight's homework is a throwback to absolute value equations. And I'll talk about it in a second. So first thing here, I want to solve these 2 equations. Let's rethink. Let's go back through absolute value equations. Remember, if you have to get the absolute value alone on one side. For our first one, is number 1. Is the absolute value alone on the left side?
No.
For number 1, is
Yes.
the absolute value alone?
Yes.
Yes. Is that the case for number 2?
No.
No. I see the 2 times and then the minus 3 next to it. So once you get the absolute value alone, you then decide, am I going to have solutions? Can somebody tell me, when would I not have solutions? What would be a case when I would not have solutions? Rose?
When the answer originally is negative.
When it's equal to a negative when we get the absolute value, right? When I get it to absolute value is equal to a number and that number is negative, then it's a no solutions. Am I going to have solutions here?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now, here is when I make my two solutions. You can't make your two solutions until you get to this point. Like I can't go right away and do it for number 2 yet. I can't do that. But I say 4x plus 8 is equal to 24, or 4x plus 8 is equal to negative 24. Those are my two solutions. And then I solve each one of those equations. Now remember that I have to have both of them. I subtract the 8 to both sides, and I get 4x is equal to 16. Divide by 4 is x is equal to 4. Subtract the 8 to both sides, I get negative 32. Divide by 4, I get negative 8. Those are my two solutions. Positive 4, negative 8. I do the exact same thing with number 2. However, I have to start the problem by setting it equal or by getting the absolute value completely alone. Like for example here, the first thing I need to do is add the 3. Remember, you do your addition and subtraction first, then your multiplication and division. Now, can I distribute in a 2?
No.
No. Remember, the distributive property does not work with absolute value. So you cannot distribute in the 2. So that means I need to divide it over to the other side. Divide the 2 here and here. So that leaves me with the absolute value 2x plus 7. And now I create my two solutions. Now I create my two equations that I solve for. I say 2x plus 7 is equal to 5, or 2x plus 7 is equal to negative 5. I subtract the 7's, divide by 2. I subtract the 7, divide by 2. There's my answer. Questions about that? Yeah.
I thought you couldn't have a negative.
You can have a negative x value. Because what would happen if I plugged in a negative x value? Well, that would be negative 12 plus 7, so negative 5. And then the negative would turn positive inside the absolute value. So what you can't have, like if I had this is what you can't have. If you have like absolute value 3x plus 4 equals negative 10, that would be a no solution. Okay? If you ever get absolute values equal to a negative, that can't happen. No solution. You gotta clear that up?
Yeah.
Any other questions on the warm-up or the homework? Yep. Yep. There we go. All right, so here's the plan for today. Here's the plan for today and the rest of the week. So I hope those of you still at home are still watching. The plan for today is we did our warm up, we went over our homework. The plan for today is to play a little catch up, okay? Is to have any missing assignments that we need to turn in, we turn in. If we need to watch a video, we watch a video. If you need to, whatever you need to do today, you need to do today in class. That's completely fine, okay? This assignment is homework. It's more absolute value equations, but it's got a little fun little coloring sheet on the top. The math part about it is the homework. The 14 problems, that's homework. Does it look like there's enough room to work on this paper?
No.
Absolutely not. So do this on a separate sheet of paper. Then, once you're done with it, if you'd like to, you can color it. If you do the coloring portion, I'll give you an extra bonus point on the test. Sound good? You don't have to do the coloring portion, but if you do, I'll give you an extra bonus point on the test. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has to be working on something in class today. Now, this class is fortunate. does anybody still need to make up that quiz that we took a while back? I don't think so. It was like 2 Thursdays ago. Remember that 1-1 and 1-2 quiz? Yes, I still have several people needing to make it up in my later period. But I think we're done with that. I'll have those kids taking that quiz today in class. So you have this to work on, and then I am going to, about halfway through the period, I am going to have you guys check your grade to make sure it is what you think it should be, because interims get pulled on Wednesday. Do we all know what that means?
Yes.
That means on Friday, if you get your hour lunch on Friday, if you have anything less than a 70%, then that goes away. Then you're going to be assigned to study hall on Friday. Okay. But let me give this to you guys so you can start to work. So that means those of you at home, check your grades, make sure everything's turned in, and hopefully see you soon. So long.